Thank you very much, Jinesh. This is really good, and it's great to have you all here. On behalf of Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, I welcome you all to this mentor dating session. Uh, so, first of all, let me welcome Mr. Param Kalara, who is the chairman of the PCC Chandigarh Committee for the Entrepreneurship and Startups. He had been our the first chairman of the PCC Chandigarh chapter when it was formed last year. And of course, as you know, that he is the founder of Startup Nation and one of the well-known names in the co-working spaces in the region. He is a regional chairman of the startups of World Economic Forum and one of the shapers of the global shapers for Chandigarh. He is also heading the Startup and Entrepreneurship Committee of PCC Chandigarh, and it is a great honor that he has brought together all the key players and some of the successful entrepreneurs onto this platform for our first program on the startup and the entrepreneurship domain. So on behalf of PCC, I welcome Mr. Samir Sharma, Ms. Nimita Satija, I believe that she has joined, and Mr. Ekant Agarwal. So it will be Mr. Param Kalra who would introduce them as we go by. But first of all, I would also like to welcome our PCC Secretariat and Executive Director of PCC, Dr. Rajeshri Datta, who is here, Administrator Ms. Genia, for all the support she is providing, and all other members of the PCC support staff. We shall also be joined by some of the PCC members from different parts of the country and the world. And before I hand over the session to Mr. Param Kalra, I would just like to briefly go over what exactly the PCC stands for. Friends, Punjabi Chamber of Commerce is a platform to make people help, support, and grow together as businesses and as professionals in a true Punjabi spirit. Now, when we say Punjabi spirit, it is not limited to any geographical territory or to any particular religion or any other distinct identity. Punjabi is an ethos, it's a way of life that dates back to hoary past, which is reflected in the boldness, in the enterprising skills of Punjabis, and being helpful and happy in every situation. I think that is the characteristics of being a Punjabi, and who believe in the oneness of humanity, who would like to celebrate together at any time, in any circumstances, anywhere. So with this introduction, I hand it over to Mr. Param Kalra, the chairman of our committee for entrepreneurship and startups, to take the program forward and introduce our panelists also. So over to you, Param Kalra.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for a nice introduction. And I think you've already explained very well about PCC to everyone present. It's the Punjabi way of life that we are following in a networking group. And there has been a lot of work already in the Punjabi Chamber of Commerce since we started, because I've seen this group start from scratch, and the community came up together and do a lot of things. So today I'm very happy to tell this to all of you that we are also raising funds for setting up two oxygen plants, because last few days, the last year, we've seen a lot of dearth of oxygen all around, especially in metro cities. So Punjabi Chamber is working hard to set up two oxygen plants, one each in Manali and Jalandhar, and we have partnered with Rotary International for the same. And our charitable arm, Punjabi Chamber Foundation, it has raised $100,000 recently and distributed 100 oxygen concentrators in government hospitals of Punjab. And we have also come up with a youth wing, which is Global Youth Squad. So the idea is very simple. We meet for a lot of things, we meet for a lot of causes, but the idea is to boost every Punjabi around every corner of the world through a strategic partnership. And so far, my personal journey has been amazing with Punjabi Chamber of Commerce. And today we are here to uh, mentor budding startups and students who've joined us. And we have an amazing panel with us today. My very dear friend Sameer Sharma is here today. He's an entrepreneur. He is, I mean, almost everyone here knows who Sameer is. He's a business and technology leader, founder of TriDeal and UEngage. He's the CEO of UEngage. And TriDeal was his startup, which got acquired by Little App, owned by Paytm in 2015. And I know Sameer, I think, since then only. And he has over 13 years of expertise in marketing, automation, consumer internet, and hyperlocal businesses. He helps around 150 plus pizza outlets across India, as well as smaller single store businesses in tier 2, tier 3 towns, with his ease to set up in low cost technology solutions through UEngage. Though he's doing a lot of work for pizza outlets, but I've never got a pizza on discount from his side. So we'll hope sometimes in future I get those discounts because I'm personally a pizza lover. And I remember Sameer last time told me that he has this tie-up with Lapinos Pizza, and he's providing this technology solution to Lapinos as well. So Sameer has provided consulting and implementation to Indian startups such as Indian Health Organization. It's now an Itna hub. He grew up in a small town near the Punjab border and is keen to encourage entrepreneurship among youth in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So I welcome you, Sameer, today. Good to
Thank you,
have you
Bharat,
here.
for having me.
Next, we have another dear friend, Ekant Agarwal, and we worked so much together with each other. And he's an amazing personality. And yesterday, I was telling him that I when I asked about his bio and photograph, he had it ready in his phone, and he just shot it within like 5 seconds. And I told him people need to learn professionalism from you, Ekant. And he's always humble, always very grounded. So I love the way he works. He's an entrepreneur and visionary, and he's founder and CEO of Ekant Associates, a company he founded and established in Chandigarh. He's an accomplished lawyer, first of all, and has a history of facilitating sustainable growth for domestic and international businesses through effective legal, finance, and startup solutions. In terms of his character, he's self-driven individual who is always willing to uplift the society, a master motivator who has been recognized numerous times for his contribution to society. He also holds a Bachelor of Laws, Bachelor of Commerce degree, and an MBA degree. So very well accomplished man. I welcome you, Ekant, today. And I'm not sure if Namita has joined us. I think there's some problem
No,
on
she
the
didn't.
live. So we can move forward. So we'll see if Namita joins us. And I think today we are discussing, Sameer, I'll come to you first. We are discussing about startups and how budding and entrepreneurs take it forward. First of all, a very major question that's coming up in the Chandigarh scenario these days is, someone was asking from the Invest India team that what is happening in Chandigarh. So, which is a very wide question, and I get baffled all the time whenever I'm bounced this question towards me. So, I always tell people that Chandigarh is great, Chandigarh is amazing. We have a strong IT back, and there's no dearth of resources, and there's no lack of anything in Chandigarh. Of course, the Mausam is always awesome, and there are a lot of trees and greeneries around. But when it comes to startups, I think we are lacking somewhere. There is something that's not letting us grow. There's no unicorn coming out of Chandigarh. It's been a long time. No big name coming out of Chandigarh. People are not focusing towards Chandigarh. So what is it according to you?
So yeah, I think it's kind of an open question for every one of us who's kind of part of the whole ecosystem, right? So but yes, I really don't think so that we have to go in that FOMO that we really have to build next unicorn or multiple unicorn from the region. Honestly, I have started embracing it, right? So as a culture, as a community, I think we are very different people. Yes, there are a lot of entrepreneurs that I can assure you, right? So Ludhiana, Punjab, the whole region, there has always been a hub of entrepreneurs, right? So a lot of industries have come up from there, the Heroes and Avon, or a lot of we know the names, right? But yes, in this new digital internet era, probably we have not been able to give that big PR friendly startup to India for now. But I'm kind of hopeful, and at least the best part is a lot of people are trying, right? A lot of people are trying to handhold those new startups, right? I work closely with few universities, and I'm seeing the continuous focus they have to encourage the entrepreneurship within their campuses, right? Unfortunately, some of the universities are still not going in a direction, but we all have to believe that it needs to start from the education level itself, right? So otherwise, unfortunately, people tend to go to Canada a lot, or for jobs, people are trying to get into Bangalore or Delhi. So that has been happening for some time, but I think it's just a matter of one good glorified example from the region, and we'll be able to showcase it. It really happens with us as well, because we work with clients like Unacademy. We work with clients, we have been working with government of Punjab. So people say that you are limiting yourself while you are being in Chandigarh. So you have worked in Bangalore, you have worked in Noida. Why don't you move there and try to build something big from there, right? So it's an emotional decision for us as well, and uh, I don't know what will be the exact rationale, but I think somebody has to remain here, keep on building things, and that's where we are trying to contribute as much as possible, right? So we are team of all 30 people now, right? So hopefully we'll be 100 by next year, and we really want to keep on adding that value in the whole ecosystem, right? And by building more jobs, of course, but also by handholding a lot of startups, by entrepreneurs in the region, right? Second thing, I believe that we need to network a lot. I think me and Param have been discussing this idea for a very long time, right? Where one startup can actually help, you know, not just a seed fund or consultation, even as a byproduct for a new startup, right? So that idea has really worked well in Bangalore and a lot of other cities. I have seen Dunzo actually giving a byproduct to some of the ex-employees, right? So now Dunzo is planning to acquire that startup, right? So those kind of ideas, I think we really need to be open-minded about it, right? Because historically, in the last 2 decades, our whole region has been IT services centered, right? But yes, we can't discount the fact अगर वो फेज ना हुआ होता तो आज शायद हम ये बात भी ना कर रहे होते, राइट? सो वो 2 decades बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. What the companies like NetSmarts or Net Solutions or IDS has really achieved in 2 decades, right? So at least we have huge IT manpower in the region, right? We have huge talent in the region, right? So people need to and we can see a lot of smaller companies, 10 people company, 50 people company, 100 people company, who have been coming up in last 5 to 6 years, right? So the inclination is getting towards building products from IT services, right? uh, uh, but let's see. I think we really need to just wait for a good glorified example, which really gives the confidence to everyone, right? Because in the region, when we had the names like NetSmarts and IDS and everyone, so it gave the confidence to a whole generation of entrepreneurs that if they could do it in early 2000, so we can also do it in probably after 2015 or something, right? So same thing will happen. The ripple effect will come in the picture very soon, right? And I'm seeing a lot of potential in the region. Also, I'm seeing a lot of potential in smaller towns in terms of investments, right? I have been in touch with a few people who are starting to believe that apart from the stock markets, एक ये सीड फंड नाम की चीज होती है, एक एंजल इन्वेस्टमेंट नाम की चीज होती है, कि जो हम अपना सरप्लस मनी जिस पे राउट कर सकते हैं, विच इज अ वेरी ग्रेट साइन, राइट? एंड मेरे को वो पार्ट और इंटरेस्टिंग क्यों लगता है, बिकॉज these are the people, these are the families in smaller towns who have certain validation on a society level, right? And if they start getting into this and saying कि यार आप स्टार्टअप करो, मैं फंड करूंगा, so उससे बहुत एक मेजर इम्पैक्ट आता है, राइट? अदरवाइज एग्जांपल्स वही खड़ी होती रहेंगी, कि मेरा कजन कनाडा गया मैं भी जाऊंगा, राइट? मेरा एक बैचमेट कनाडा गया मैं भी जाऊंगा. So I'm very optimistic about the whole positive energy around Chandigarh and Punjab ecosystem. So hopefully we should be able to see some big names coming from the region very soon.
That was very detailed, Samir. But you said, you stopped believing that. I mean, not believing, but you stopped expecting that everyone should look forward to become a unicorn someday from this region. So, is that a Zen state you have achieved after so many years, or is it
No, no.
is it something you've given up for the region?
No, I think I'm being very practical about, so I know the region. I'm born and brought up in the region, right? So there are some, cultural factors, right? So which will keep on, contributing to this whole scenario, right? And we can't run away from that, right? So we are amazing, hardworking, community. But of course, I think I'll skip that part. So I think there'll be a kind of negative statement otherwise. But yes, I think we really don't have to worry about what Bangalore has really achieved or what Delhi has achieved in terms of more IPOs recently, right? So we have a lot of potential. We can do a lot of things. We have been doing it. We have seen great examples from the region, and I'm pretty sure this will keep on going forward in a very big way. Honestly, I'm kind of biased for those funded startups for certain reason. We have gone through this journey, right? We have raised money in the past. In this current startup, we are bootstrap, we are profitable, right? So to some extent, I'm seeing more stable, more focused, job creating startup in this region as compared to Bangalore. I can vouch on that, right? Because if a big startup, even if they become a unicorn and suddenly somebody acquires them, till the point Zomato like IPO doesn't happen, right? So they end up, damaging a lot of jobs as well, right? So it's not like that if it's getting into PR, a lot of people are talking about it. So that's not the only best part about them, right? So I think the way we are creating jobs in this region, I mean the whole ecosystem, right? So those jobs are going to last way longer as compared to unicorns. I can guarantee you that.
Great, great. So, two things more before I move on to Ekam. I personally believe there's a glass ceiling in Chandigarh. A startup comes up from somewhere and starts doing basic business and, forms few vendors and starts with a certain amount of traction. And, it hits a glass ceiling somewhere. There's a glass ceiling somewhere. When at a point a startup feels there's nothing to go forward. I mean, maybe the team is feeling lack of resources, lack of money, or lack of PR, as you said. So, I mean, do you feel that glass ceiling first of all in case of Chandigarh? And if there's a glass ceiling, if you agree with me, where's the glass ceiling? I mean, what are the
So
factors?
Param, I think that depends on the kind of vertical you're into, right? So I think if you're really, a B2C internet company, right, who wants to come out from the region, right? So yes, at times, the glass ceiling is felt, when you see certain level of talent, which has been migrating to certain cities because of, high paying jobs. Uh, but again, we believe that, a lot of good ideas can be built without any limitation from this region as well, right? So you keep your head office here, you keep your back office here, you keep on probably opening more locations across India, right? So that's very much feasible, and we know companies who have recently achieved it, who started from Chandigarh and now they have almost 30-40 manpower in Hyderabad or Chennai or Bangalore. So that is already happening, right? But one liner, if you say the glass ceiling on the regional level, yes, there is a glass ceiling. At times we have seen even customers getting biased about the fact, okay, you are a Chandigarh-based company, you're not in Bangalore, and you're doing or trying to do a tech. You might not be as good as the Bangalore people, right? So unfortunately, we live in that era where that PR contributes, right? I'm sorry, I'm calling it unfortunately, but yes, so because at times somehow some of the facts get overridden due to that, apart from the good things it brings. But yes, so due to those factors, you can call it, yeah, there's a glass ceiling, right? But as enablers, as contributors, I think that should be our job to, keep on pushing the limit and, keep on trying to crack that glass ceiling, right? And I'm kind of again very optimistic and hopeful that it will keep on improving in positive direction.
That's great. That's great. That's very diplomatically handled, Sameer. And yeah. So finally, your last few words for startups and budding entrepreneurs, especially not startups. We're not talking about startups who already have a traction today. We're talking about budding entrepreneurs. Let's say I'm in college. I need to start up. I have an idea. Very bluntly, very candidly, where to go, what to do.
Yeah. First of all, I think just first of all, just start up, right? So at times I'm seeing that lack of confidence in the students, right? That can be family pressure, there can be society pressure, there can be peer pressure, getting better jobs, right? So I would strongly request and urge, please start up. Being in campus is the, I would say, most favorable age or situation or position you're going to have in your life, right? There's nothing or not much to lose, I would say nothing, right? So you start up, you try to explore your core passion. If you can build around some business around it, that's amazing, right? Do ask for help, right? And do try to at least have a core team. So those basically are already aware, right? But just that at college level, I believe more and more people need to at least try doing a startup. So I'm seeing a very interesting trend in some campuses. People are starting up, they fail for whatever reason, they go do a job, but back in the mind they have the कीड़ा नहीं मेरे को वापस आके फिर से कुछ करना है, right? And they come better prepared this time, right, with more experience, right? So even that's a good trend. जैसे मर्जी solve होना चाहिए, but only request is please start up, right? ठीक है, that's an amazing journey. The kind of adrenaline rush you get from the small feats, right? That can't be replaced by anything else.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I am sure you have said a lot in little sentences. So thank you so much, Sameer. Stay with us for a little while. I know this is a very nice evening today in Chandigarh. It has rained a lot, and you may rush outside to visit a few places, I'm sure. But be with us for another 5-10 minutes. We now move on to Ekant. Hi, Ekant. Are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. Meanwhile, if anyone has any questions, you can shoot it in the chat, or you can text any one of us. We'll take up your questions. We are also live on Facebook from Punjabi Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. And we also have Namita with us. I'll come to Namita after Ekant, after talking to Ekant. And yeah, so Ekant, you worked with SACC as well, and given a good part of your efforts to SACC and taking up Startup in the Box. And, you've been at a prime position in the startup ecosystem of the region. So what do you think? Sameer said, there still are a lot of challenges in the ecosystem, but everyone should stay positive. Everyone should look forward to making it big, and maybe you set up your branch offices somewhere else where you think the ecosystem is better. So what do you think is the current scenario? Very wide question again to you. What do you think is the current scenario of Chandigarh ecosystem?
Sure. So see, I have been watching the startup ecosystem from 2010. It is now almost 11 years I'm watching this startup ecosystem. And first from the eyes of TiE, then from the eyes of, SACC, and now from my own eyes. So I've been watching this ecosystem. And the major problem I have, ever found is, which actually is not a problem, but is a problem. So we all, I will include myself as well, we all here have plenty of resources. Plenty of resources. That is the thing, that is the problem which makes us comfortable. And the fire in the belly is not there because we already have everything. That is the reason for North, which is not growing as the South is growing in the number of startups, in the number of startup villages, in the number of startup incubators. So we find easy ways to do, and they find hard ways to do. I have visited, startup villages and all. So this is the major thing. So once the fire in the belly is enlightened here also, definitely we will have very good number of startups, and we are the people who will do excellent.
I'm sure. You're absolutely right. It depends on a person how he takes his dream forward, because we've seen a lot of people doing that as well. It's not that there's no startup coming up. It's not that a lot of people are doing good. As Sameer mentioned, there are a lot of IT companies which have come up from the space, and they're doing very well, and they are creating examples for other IT companies in the nation. So you have worked with the government side as well, wherein you've seen government policies around startups, around incubators. So, what do you think is the difference between the government policies in our region and to somewhere like Karnataka or Mumbai?
So, see, government policies, if I talk about the kind of people we have here, they are definitely good ones, want to help us out, but somewhere they are definitely scared that whatsoever they sign up, whatsoever they allot us, will somebody question it? Because there is always a criticism following or opposition following. So that makes them fear to take right steps. Whereas this is little lesser in the other parts of our country. So that is the reason. Otherwise, the policies, the draft policies, the startup policies, all what we have for Haryana, for Punjab, for Chandigarh, they're beautiful. They can do wonders. I tell you, incubators, there is a policy for incubator in Punjab. There is a policy for funding of incubator in Punjab. There is a policy for incubators in Haryana, but they're not being implemented by the officers only because of the fear that if it doesn't work, they will be in trouble. If that is removed, everything will work.
So, do you think that it's just because of the fear, or the
True.
ecosystem is not developed as such, and there are no, seekers who are actually validated in the market first, and then they go out to the government and ask for the support? Or do you think there's the dearth of those people?
So I'll share my experience. So when Haryana government allotted us our first incubator in Panchkula Government College, the only condition, I won't name the IAS, but the IAS said is, आप मेरा नाम मत डुबो देना, मैं आपको इंक्यूबेटर दे रहा हूँ, साल बाद अगर ये आपने हमें 20 स्टार्टअप खड़े करके दिखा दिए तो हम आपको और इंक्यूबेटर देंगे और उसमें मेरा नाम आना चाहिए. This was the wording I'm telling you. That is a personal experience. And when we proved, we were the people who got 5 more incubators in the state of Haryana. So now Karnal, Hisar, Faridabad and Gurgaon. That's lovely. But see again, from that experience, I got to know it is the fear in the mind of even an IAS officer. कि जो उसने steps लिए हैं, is it correct? जो उसने agency choose किया, is it correct? Those are the things.
Oh, great, great. So yeah, very inside information. I think we
True.
got a lot of inside information from you. Okay,
Yeah.
now about the startups. If I'm in college, I need to start up. I have an idea. What is the best path that you suggest? Because as a college student, I see 10 options. I see incubators. I see certain co-working spaces. I see certain formal, informal mentors in the ecosystem. I see angel networks like Chandigarh Angel Network. So, what is the path that you think a student should take in order to start?
See, firstly, I'll say the student should definitely start with a prototype, maybe from his home or from his friends itself, because now the environment or the innovation cells or the incubators in the colleges itself are so helpful. They can do their prototype and their testing phase. Then they should directly move to an incubator or a co-working space, because co-working space is an environment wherein we have network of already doing business people. Those people who are already into business, daily they come for the business, they will get the ecosystem, network, skills, mindset, everything. So that should be the major thing they should do. That after college, either incubator or a co-working space.
Great, wonderful. And I think I forgot to ask this from Sameer. So, what about your personal journey right now? How do you connect with other entrepreneurs? Or are you mentoring some startups? Are you in connection with some startups or entrepreneurs? I'll ask this to Sameer as well. But what about you, Ekant? What are you doing right now?
So basically, I'm now consulting almost 52 startups. So mentoring them on each and every stage, even very, very small stages like how to do networking, how to, approach people. They do have hitches. कि अगर मैं किसी को जाके बुलाता हूँ कि हेलो आई एम दिस, तो वो बंदा क्या सोचेगा. इतने छोटे छोटे पॉइंट्स even have to be given to them. So hand holding is very, very necessary to any startup. And polishing, And one thing I must say, which I'm keeping in mind always, we should know our customer, we should know our audience, we should know our startup, we should know the age or the customer which the startup is targeting. For that, I'll share a small experience. So I have made out, my chart, which says there is a generation called silent generation. Those are the people from the age of 74 to 91. They are not going to contribute into business or into trade. They are just silent people. Then are the people who are the boomers. Boomers are 55 to 73, those who have already boomed into business. Then is generation X, that is 39 to 54. Then is generation Y, that is millennials, including you and me, 23 to 38, right? Then is generation Z, that is 7 years to 22 years. So once we are into business and we are, making our startups handholding or assisting them, generation Z has to be kept in mind. They are sitting on bed, they are working from home. Our market is in their home, on their bed. If we are able to reach this generation Z of 7 to 22 years, our startup cannot fail.
That's right.
That is
That's very
that is
nice
my
categorization.
yeah.
But okay, uh, tell me one thing, Ekant.
Yeah.
Tell me a few names from the city. Let's say we have budding entrepreneurs watching us on Facebook Live as well. So tell me a few names from the city, a few institutes from the city where they should reach in case of any handholding that's required. Because we'll also be launching a mentoring
Okay.
project with Punjabi Chamber of Commerce very soon, and we'll be inviting all of you there as well. And we are trying to reach new entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, and students through that program, and that's how we are going to design that program. So, what are the few name of the institutes that you recommend to students and budding entrepreneurs?
So basically, see, MCM DAB Sector 36 is doing really good. They are having entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurship is being promoted there. Then Galaxy Global Group of Institutions near Khanna, they are doing great job. If I talk about startups, then more institutions. If I talk about, I'm not pretty much sure that they will get engaged with us or not. So that is Regional Institute of Entrepreneurship in Sector 35.
Okay.
They are very good people. So if I say they are doing groundwork, then Lovely Professional University is again amazing place for entrepreneurs. They even have a mall inside, which they provide to the students to do experiments and do entrepreneurship. Amazing. So that is there. Then definitely I'll say we should target all the co-working spaces. They are actually the incubators. I won't say the incubators which are named incubators, but the co-working spaces are the incubators. Real life business people are born there.
I'm sure, because a lot of universities. You mentioned a lot of names. There are a lot of universities. I see Thapar, I see PEC, I see even IIT Ropar. Mr. J.K. Sharma was there. They've done a lot of work over there.
True, true.
So, and co-working spaces, of course.
Yes.
I've been into this from the last 8 years, and this is what we
Right.
discussed. This is what we discussed with the authorities in Invest Punjab and Invest India. That these co-working spaces, they are actually the major catalyst for the startups in India of the region.
Startups.
Otherwise, incubators, they have certain limitations, either due to the industry specifications that they fall under, or due to the fund sometimes. So there are certain limitations for students, but anyways, they can be contacted. There are quite a few who are doing amazing
True.
job. So yeah, thank you so much, Ekant. Samir ji, what about you? What if we send some students and budding entrepreneurs your way?
Yeah.
How would you like to handhold them in your own style?
Yeah. So I think Param, me and you personally, we have discussed a lot about it, right? So uh, I got to work in Silicon Valley, right? Before I started TriDeal. When we sold TriDeal, I got to move to Bangalore, right? Somehow, I keep on coming back to Punjab because, that's the home state, right? And that's a very long-term mission I have in mind. And probably, we can enable more and more entrepreneurs from the region. And honestly, I have been trying to find a way around it. First of all, we have to be here, which we are now, right? And I don't have exact formula that how we're going to solve it, right? But there are multiple iterations that we have been doing, right? For example, there are three simple things which I do now. Of course, I have been uh, doing some seed investments to certain syndicates, right? Small investments, but yes, that's part of a syndicate. So at least entrepreneurs get some decent chunk. Two, we try to collaborate with some campus entrepreneurs where our UEngage ecosystem can be plugged into, right? For example, there was a startup from PEC, right? Students who were just struggling with technology, and we have a model around it that we build the technology, we handle them, we help them to kickstart and launch the whole thing, right? And we have been very vocal about it that we'll take its stake definitely because there are no free lunches, right? And but we will keep it single digit so that the real entrepreneurs actually leads the show, right? And we give them a complete exit clause or the technology so that whenever they have money, they should be able to just get away from us, right? So we are there just as a launch pad, nothing else, right? So probably we are not in a stage as a company where I would say that I can lead, a Series A or Series B fund for now, but hopefully, someday, right? And third, of course, always open if somebody reaches out to us through universities or TIE or some other channel for informal mentorship or for the validation of ideas. So these are the three core activities where I have been spending some time in recent not I would say years, but yeah, at least recent months, right? So at least that is kind of getting some fruitful output. Otherwise you already know it. I tried implementing and tried few things with a lot of organizations, but somehow we could not see the seriousness over there, right? So I think if any organization who is action oriented, who's actually gonna genuinely help the startups and entrepreneurs, we are very much there. We are always there.
Great. Thank you so much. I think you're already doing a lot, and I'm sure, I mean, a little seed sown will someday turn into very nice fruits. And we always have you with us. And thank you so much, Sameer. I'll move on now to Namita, who's here with us. Earlier, she was not able to join. Hi, Namita. How are you?
Hi Param, very good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Good to see you. And we haven't communicated since very long, but good to see you virtually after so long. So I'll
Absolutely.
introduce
Likewise.
Namita very briefly for other people who have joined us. So Namita is a young leader who's driven to try things that she believes in. She began her career as an IT consultant and now is the co-founder of Better Eggs, a conscious egg brand with over 300 store locations and growing popularity. Her first startup was PLAP, PLAPP, a platform for passionate people that transformed the lives of many young and old artists. This is very exciting, Namita. We met at the time of PLAP only, I guess, and it's been a
Right.
long time. So, with you, I'd love to hear your journey of PLAP and how Better Eggs happened and how it all changed into Better Eggs from PLAP.
Okay, that's a lot of information. I don't
Yeah.
know how to
You
condense
have the
it.
mic because we've been waiting for you for a long time, and now you have the mic for another 5 minutes.
You're very kind. Thank you so much, Param. So, PLAP was an idea that I just thought about. It is one of the things that makes me realize that anybody can actually pick up anything that gives them an itch, So I had an itch of bringing people together and making them, make new friends. Like, for example, if right now we're a part of this startup ecosystem, so I can meet other entrepreneurs. But what about ladies? What about IT professionals who don't really, get to go out and meet different kind of people? So this circle tends to just get smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually you lose contact with who you are and also what your possibilities are as a human being. So with PLAP, I think I made more than 2,000, 2,500 people explore themselves in a better way, So that happened. That was incredibly good. I think I still, it's super close to my heart and I keep remembering it. So a lot of artists, I mean, there are experiences like a lady used to make only pots, and for 60 years, it was a hobby. And then after 60 years, she was able to earn something out of her hobby. And that was incredibly powerful for me. Then there was this lady, she thought that she had lost herself in the daily chores of her life. And her husband was like, तुम्हें अपने अंदर से मैं निकालना पड़ेगा. You will have to lose out yourself from you. Only then you can be a part of this home. And she left it for 20 years. And after 20 years, she said that after coming on to PLAP, she has got myself back. And she opened a bank account for the first time. She got a PAN card for the first time. And that was life altering for me personally. So there were a lot of great instances. And I think this community is really powerful. I don't think a lot of people from this community were particularly interested to attend the events, but the kind of support and the kind of validation that you get from this community, sometimes all you need is a little bit of push, a little bit of support, mental support, that okay, you're doing something, it's adding value, and it's okay, just keep going, you will find the way. I met Samar Singla. He attended our workshop, one of our workshops with his daughter. And he met me. He told me, Namita, just keep going. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So words from these people, they really matter. And when they happen, he asked me that, do you want some funding? What would you want? And I said that I don't think I'm ready for funding yet. So, I mean, just the fact that he asked, it was a big thing for me, and it was really humbling. I'm still, honored to be in that position. But the problem with PLAP was that it was very, very difficult to scale. The kind of experiences that we were creating, they were very powerful, but they had to be handheld, like somebody had to handhold the instructors, the people. There had to be a binding force together, and the quality was sort of deteriorating as we were expanding. And we were not able to get to where we wanted to get. We were not making new connections of friends, and a lot of power thing was missing. So, and then COVID happened, and I realized that good startups need to scale up. Anything that is not scaling up, 0 to 1 is fine. You have to do things that do not scale. But at the end of the day, after you find the perfect mix and you try to scale, if it's not scaling, then you have to be humble enough to say that, okay, it wasn't scaling, and you have to find something that because it was a lot of learning. I met a lot of people. I met you because of PLAP. I met Samir because of PLAP. I met so many people because of PLAP. And now that I'm doing Better Eggs, it's really helping me. So you have to really start. And Better Eggs is great. I think the thing that I love about Better Eggs is it's super scalable. So we are tying up with farmers. My entire intention, my entire life always revolved around conscious living, conscious eating. And Better Eggs is just like a small part of it, but a super scalable part of it. So I love it. So we have actually researched on it for 1 year, and we came out with the right feed for our hens. And the eggs are simply delicious. They're not they don't have any antibiotics, they don't have any growth hormones, they don't have any pesticide residue, nothing of bad sort. And if you realize, there were like a lot of revelations that even happened when I was doing Better Eggs. So if you know, I don't think anybody would know, but there's this shade card for egg yolk. There's a 16 color shade card for egg yolk that is available, and all the branded eggs that are currently there in the market that call themselves organic, antibiotic free, all of them add this orange pigment, synthetic pigment to the diet of hens. And just like beetroot changes the inside of our system and makes it red, that orange pigment makes the yolk orange. So I don't know, a lot of people who buy branded eggs, they're eating orange yolks because it's different. So shayad acha hoga, but that's just color. So when I was doing this and we came out with the diet full of herbs and pesticide free thing, then it was a very difficult stance to take, because even the startups in Delhi who are doing eggs, who have raised quite a bit, we tried calling them and checking with them, if we want to be a part of you and if you want to supply in Chandigarh, so what are your requirements? They're like, एक हम आपको कलर देंगे, आपको वो डालना होगा, एंड आपको हमें सप्लाई कर देने होंगे एग्स, तो जो भी मार्केट रेट होगा हम उस पे ले लेंगे. एंड these guys are like, they have raised money, they have raised 15 CR, and they're led by IIT guys. I mean, so we realized that this is something really fundamentally wrong in the egg industry that was happening. I don't know, I mean, organic to chalo bhul hi jao, but color to ye dal hi rahe, like, so we came out, we started educating people, and people started coming back to us that, okay, your eggs taste really nice, but it's not orange. So why is it not orange? Is it an inferior quality or what? And then we educate and they realize. So we actually give calendula flowers. We buy like 100 to 100 kgs of flowers to feed our hens, so that the color, the richness in the yolk comes from flowers and not any synthetic color. So Better Eggs is great. We have a lot of D2C customers. We have over 300 stores. We scaled up to a revenue of about 10 lakhs in a month, in our second month of operations. I think second or between 2 and 3. So this is our third month that is going on. And I hope we have a better turnout. So yeah, that's about it. We are also supplying to Nick Bakers. All their breakfast menu uses Better Eggs.
Very nice. So the next time I've got a better reason to go to Nick Bakers for sure.
You should definitely ask them. And appreciate.
Nice. Yeah. So one thing is evident that you've seen, PLAP grow and then shut down, and then you got into Better Eggs. So what have been your learnings as an entrepreneur when you started as maybe from your student journey, then shifted to entrepreneurship, and then what have been your personal learnings as an entrepreneur and your personal learnings that you are implementing from PLAP to Better Eggs?
So the first learning that I always wanted to do a startup, like that was always there in my heart. But I think you should do only if you have that itch. If you don't have that itch, you should probably work under somebody whom you really like. So that is my learning number one. That don't do it just for the sake of doing it. Don't do it because it's cool. Don't do it because it's the new guitar that everybody has, so that's one thing. Secondly, I think if you're doing a startup, it goes without saying that it's great to do everything and anything that this startup entails. For example, I went to this milk seller to sell eggs, introduce him to our eggs. And the next day, my mom and dad went to that seller to just buy milk or some vegetables. And then this guy said, Uncle, aapki beti ande bechti hai? And my mom and dad were like completely, thrown off. Ki, Are, ye kya ho gaya hai? He's like, no, my beti ko ande bhi nahi bechti, itna padhaya likhaya sab kara, wo ande bechti. So there are things that you would have to do that, would probably be below your dignity, that you feel that are below your dignity. But for every successful startup, I think you will have to clean the floor, wash the dishes, things like that. And if you don't have that mentality, then I think it's a very short-lived thing. So do anything and everything and try as much. So one of our best resellers is also a doodh wale bhaiya who goes on his rallies and gives eggs every day. But to approach them and people like Nitin Mittal from Nick Bakers, I mean, you have to do everything. So it would be very dignified on one day and very below your belt on the other. But you'd have to do everything that you think is important for your business. So that's the thing. From Plap, yes, I think this attitude, because I've mopped floors in Plap because I didn't want a bad customer experience. But then I've also learned from Plap that don't do things that don't scale. I mean, it's one thing to put your heart and soul into whatever you're doing, and you also have to imagine that okay, today you're doing it, but tomorrow can somebody do it? Would there be somebody who would step into your shoes and do the exact same things that you're doing? So maybe that person also does it in front of you, but would he be comfortable in doing it after you go? So that is something that really has gone into me, that now I try to understand that what am I doing, and is this can somebody else take up this job? And if you think that today you're doing something that can be in a way that you're replaceable in that job, you should also quickly find people who are a little better than you to do it, because otherwise you will not be able to scale out. Thirdly, I think funding is important, and after a certain point in time, after maybe you've reached a particular level of growth, it is important, because like in Better Eggs, I think the reason why I'm looking for funding is that at the end of the day, it's about marketing. In this particular business, it's about marketing. For example, in Plap, it was always about quality. So if the quality is great, um, people are going to spread the word. The pictures are going. So now here, the Instagram part and the photos part is sort of missing. So how can you make the impact quickly and cover areas as quickly as possible, create supply chains, because supply chain is a hassle. These guys are delivery boys, they really fight with each other, and there's like a huge mess on a daily basis, and you need to be able to handle all kinds of things. So that is one thing that I have learned. You should be replaceable in no job. If you really want to scale a startups, if you want to do something just for the sake of your fun, and if you just want to get happiness out of it, then things that do not scale also work. But if you really want it to be a startup, one of the key features has to be scalability. And if you can't get it, then I mean, sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's not. But if you think it's difficult, then try as much as you can. But if you're not able to get it, then understand that it's either going to be a lifestyle business or you'll have to quit.
Great, great. I think it's always difficult to scale up, as you said.
Yeah.
It's never easy, because we were also discussing this with Sameer and Ekant earlier. There's a glass ceiling, especially in some regions, because there is a dearth of resources, or dearth of funding, or dearth of hand holding at a certain level. You do a basic traction first, and then you reach a level where you feel alone. And I think that level is alone for sure for every startup. It's just that how soon or how fast a startup reaches that stage, and
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
how it depends. I mean, that's what it depends on. But I'm sure you are in a very sustainable space, and I really congratulate you for whatever you've done so far with Better Eggs and Plap. because I know a lot of organizations who are always up and forward for hand holding and funding these sustainable ideas, sustainable practices, natural and organic spaces. So I think there's a lot of future. Personally, I think that there's a lot of future for this thing, especially for the next 5 to 7 years, because the world on the whole is turning sustainable and using sustainable practices. If it's for making a startup or making a product or anything, or even consuming. The consumerism is moving towards more sustainable practices. So I think this has great future, and I congratulate you. Thank you so much for suggesting to all the viewers that we have. We are also live on Facebook, so a lot of people are watching you on Facebook and learning from your journey. So thank you so much, Namita.
Thank you so much
And
for this opportunity. I'm so sorry you joined late, but it was really
no
cool.
problem. No problem. You will have to compensate that by staying with us for certain other programs that we have. We'll come back to you for that later.
Absolutely. I'm here.
Sure. Thank you so much. Okay. So, yeah, I think that's most of it. If we have any questions, we are still here for 10, I think, 2 or 3 more minutes. But otherwise, I'll just introduce PCC a bit. So yeah, I've already introduced PCC, but how can you get involved with PCC is, uh, we need a lot of leadership and involvement from a broad base of community leaders. So you can join us as a member. Membership is totally free right now. PCC will thrive through strong leadership, dedication, and broad collaboration. And we are looking for all the possibilities as of now. Success of each member strengthens our community as a whole. So the opportunity to succeed as individuals and as a community relies on our volunteer leaders and the engagement of our members. So to become a member of PCC, which is Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, it's a worldwide organization. We are doing a lot of things right now. Namita, I think you missed. We have supplied oxygen concentrators. I think we've raised more than $100,000 already and distributed 100 oxygen concentrators in government hospitals of Punjab. So we would love to have you all in PCC and would love to stay connected and come up with a lot of more programs and do a lot of stuff together. Thank you so much. I hand it over to CJ sir. So are you here with us?
Oh, yes, I am very much. And thank you, Param. It's been an excellent session, but uh, I would like to ask Samir and you, since all of us and Ekant, all of us had been associated with this startup ecosystem in this region from the very beginning. In the last, I think, 12, 13 years, we've been working together on all these projects. We would like to, strengthen this ecosystem through our own participation and through this PCC also. So what do you feel, Param? So what are the three things which PCC in this region should contribute to make it this ecosystem much more stronger?
So my question, you actually bounced my question back to me, sir. I've been enjoying asking these questions from all these people, and I thought today I'll not be required to speak, but here I am. So I think the first thing that we need to do is, in a structured approach, we need to see who is doing what and handhold them accordingly. Because even in Startup Nation, what we have felt is, the situation of the region is not as similar to the ecosystems of Karnataka and Mumbai. We do talk a lot about those ecosystems and the amount of handholding that we get over there. But the situation here is very different. Uh, I think we need to categorize entrepreneurs and startups first of all and understand what help can we provide as PCC to them. Secondly, there are a lot of government schemes and government plans which we come across every day. And I always say this, anyone who wants to work towards entrepreneurship in this region, uh, even if that person or organization gets one government plan established in a way that a certain number of startups get a certain benefit from it, I think that's the best impact we can make, because there are a lot of government plans floating here and there, but nobody knows how to get them, nobody knows how to go about it, and nobody knows how to crack the Da Vinci Code with the government. So I think that's one impact area we can totally work on. And thirdly, I think we need to do a lot of workshops and sessions because I think very specific workshops are required. Whenever we go outside or we, travel internationally, we see the workshops and the kind of content that they bring is very specific to a certain set of people, which actually is very tangible, and there's a lot of takeaways from that workshop. So we need to structure our workshops and programs accordingly. I think these are the three suggestions very quickly I can make.
No, definitely that is true, Param, and it is good to have you with us, especially leading this initiative. And I'm sure okay, that your deep knowledge and experience and expertise would help us take it forward further and recreate the kind of hand holding which is required to the startups in this region. So definitely that would be great. And Samir, can I have your inputs, especially what you feel are the three things PCC should be doing?
So I think Param
Some-
has summed up it really nicely, and
yeah,
so honestly, I think I kind of agree with the most of the points which he has shared, right? So adding to that, again, I think I'll be biased about it because I work or I try to work with a lot of just entry level entrepreneurs, right? So if we can figure out or focus on more and more ways to encourage that, so
hmm,
like I said, I'm just biased about it, So, but you guys have been amazing enablers in the region, right? Caesar, you're an amazing example. The kind of the long career you have, and in your domain, right? So I'm pretty sure you can be a great influencer on a lot of things in the region, right? So my focus personally would be, or my request would be, we can do more and more about encouraging just entrepreneurship in the region one or the other way, right? So like
right.
Paran said, of course nobody's able to find the formula for now, right? But I think we need to at least keep on trying more and more things, more and more different iterations, right? So some of the things will work, some of the things will fail, right? But we
Hmm.
simply can't just stop, right? So till the point we are able to find literally a replicable formula. So I always share this story of, that's about literally my own hometown, right? So and why I want to come back, to this region, right? So I think probably you can relate with that. So it's a very small town called Dinanagar, hardly 25,000 people, right? And my gully is having 10 to 12 homes, right? So most of the people have been migrating out, right? So for jobs, for immigration purposes, a lot of the things, right? I feel so bad at times, right? It's not like it's deserted as of now, but I can see a trend, that it is going to be deserted in next 15 or 20 years, right? So we all need to take care of this heritage. We all need to take care of the whole Punjab, the small towns, right? We need to ensure that, we keep on, contributing, we keep on doing something which really makes people to at least stick around, right? We will be shocked. I think me and Param met one gentleman, and he was sharing some stats, the kind of money which is being going out from India just for the immigration purposes. It's enormous, right? So it's like eroding, a wall, right? So it will actually be very scary in few years, right? The kind of population we will have, the kind of economy we will have, right? So I somehow believe that entrepreneurship is something which can really make a dent, right? Make a huge impact in this cause, right? So if anything which can be done by PCC to contribute to this, I'll be really grateful personally.
That's great, Samir. In fact, I would like you to also to join on 24th. We have recently formed a cultural heritage committee, and especially that's also one of the initiatives where the tourism needs to be promoted in the smaller towns. We need to identify the heritage places. We need to connect the diaspora with their roots, and especially the younger generation there to get back to their roots. And even in the smaller towns, there can be a lot of enterprising opportunities which exist, and which the locals can be involved by fine tuning their whatever work they are doing to become a part of that tourism ecosystem. So I think that would be definitely be helpful. And do join us on 24th. I request everybody on the panel and everybody who's attending today to be a part of it. That would be at 7:30, and we are having a Pakistani writer, Haroon Khalid, who is based in Canada, and he has written, and he's been a journalist and an anthropologist who has traveled across Pakistan to find out the places, the heritage places where Guru Nanak visited. So he has written a book called Walking with Nanak. So that's the program. But definitely your idea is excellent. In fact, even in a smaller town, which you have talked about, I think there's a lot of entrepreneurship opportunities. We can stop this brain drain also and contribute to engage the people. I think there, even in the slums, I get to, queries from some of the children who have heard this word of a startup, and they want to have a startup, but they don't know what to do about it. So I think this is, I think the responsibility becomes that maybe, we can ignite and show them the way, all of us together. So that definitely would be a great endeavor, and to have you all also on the PCC and contributing to this initiative in a whatever way we can at our own in our own way. So and congratulations to even Namita for the kind of project she has launched, and I'm sure that she must have faced a lot of challenges, but I believe there's a lot of lessons which she has very effectively pointed out as to what needs to be done. But one factor which comes to mind, I think, for the success of any business is to look at the end user or the customer and understanding his or her requirement, and in fact, filling the right kind of a gap. I think if we identify the pain points of the people and are able to fulfill that, I think any startup can be not just for the sake of being a startup, we should be there, but then something which would be fulfilling the need of the larger group of people. So I think that's an amazing journey, and it's really great for the PCC at this moment that all of us who have joined here and shared their experiences, that would be definitely helpful. And I look forward to, we have a few people around who would like to, in case there is any question, they can ask the panelists here. So we have Colonel NP Singh, there is Mr. Parminder Singh. Anybody who would like to ask any questions? So we have just 2 minutes before we wrap up. We can take up any question if there's somebody.
Yeah, I think Namita wants to say something. Namita, please.
Yes, Namita, please.
Sir, thank you so much, for giving everybody this opportunity. Thank you so much, Param. One last thing that I feel is very important for startups that they don't get. I was just thinking of myself as a new startup and what do I want? I also, sometimes I want validation from customers, because you have something in mind, you don't know whether customers really want it or not. So what a Punjabi Chamber of Commerce can do is, you can have, we can buy data of consumers, and for the new startups, you can take some fees and actually float out from your end, promote them a little, see if it helps them, and if it does, you can probably charge a little more fees, and it could be a good revenue generating model also for you, and it would also help the people get some initial traction which they would need, when they really start up, because a lot of startups, they fail to find the right audience. They have great things in their mind, but there's nobody who is supporting them to reach out to people. So if we can buy it, we can just we have funds. If we can utilize some bit of it in making startups reach out to customers, I think it would be a great boon for everybody. People would get to know, okay, what startups is Punjabi Chamber of Commerce supporting, and people really want to know what new things are happening around the city. So it would probably bridge this gap. I just thought
Excellent.
it was better if I share.
Excellent, Namita. I think that's a great feedback, and definitely we'll work on it. And this is what is required, actually, finding, and you being such a successful startup, I think your feedback is very, very crucial, and definitely we'll look forward to, taking it forward.
Yes, CJ.
And may I request, Ji, Colonel sir? Yes.
Yes, CJ, I'll just come in for a minute. Firstly, thank you very much for this wonderful program, and thanks to all the panelists also that they have enlightened us with the burning subject in the nation today. So, and such a wonderful work they are doing. Now, being an investment banker and advisor to HNIs in my various assignments and otherwise, I think if you could kindly share the number of the panelists. So, because not many people get in touch with us for holding their hand, which rightly brought out by Samir and Namita, and of course, Mr. Agarwal. So I think it would be great to interact with them whenever such people come in. And I think that will pave a wonderful way for getting people across to them.
Excellent, Colonel sir. Definitely.
So, thank you very much. CJ, it was a wonderful initiative you took. Grateful to be. I just joined PCC about a year and a half back before the lockdown, when I met Gary in his office in US. He's a dear friend of mine. And I'm in Mumbai. So that is my humble introduction and ex-army officer.
Thank you. That's very good. In fact, it is great of you for having joined here from Mumbai, and definitely, this is what PCC is all about.
Yeah, sorry to cut you. I think Ekant also wants to say.
Yes, Ekant. I was coming to you for the three, pointers for the PCC agenda.
Right. So basically, I would like to share something which, I personally wanted from last almost 8 to 10 years. And seeing all the startups and the queries which, just rain to us. So what I want actually is if PCC can take care of it, or we all can take care of it. That is a startup care number. Just like everything has a, customer care number, can we have a startup care number wherein a startup can simply pick up the phone, call and say, yeah, mere se ye nahi ho raha, how it is to be done. Or there can be an email ID, startup care email ID at PCCI, wherein they can shoot their queries. Accordingly, they will be sent to the mentor, all the mentors, and they can, definitely then solve that out. That is one take I wish.
Excellent. Excellent. Very practical suggestion, Ekant. Yeah. You always come up with brilliant ideas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So that is, actually.
So over to you, Paramji, for the final word.
Great. I think thank you so much. We've discussed a lot, and thank you for other PCC members who have joined, Colonel N.P. Singh, sir, and other members. We are obliged to have you all, Ojasvi Sharma, who is the new co-chair of the Chandigarh committee that we have with us. And thank you, Ojasvi, for coming with us. And I think everyone has provided their contact emails as well. It's just a final thank you from my side. If anyone has any questions from the panelists, they have dropped in their contacts in the chat box. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Param.
Thank you, everyone.
And thank you, Rajeshri. Thank you, Samir. And thank you, Namita, for being a part of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raj Sherry and Dr. Zinia and Colonel N.P. Singh.
Thank you. And do share on the WhatsApp also, please. That's my request.
Yes, I'll do that.
Because the window will die down the moment.
No, definitely we'll share the numbers with you. You are there on our WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
I'll share it with you.
So very kind
And
of
thank you, Ajasri, and thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. I'm closing the meeting for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Genia. Thank you.